Ladies and gentlemen, my name's StepsBasic and welcome back to my community show. Never without laughing. I can't do it without laughing. I try every day. But anyway, that's not important. What today's video is going to be about is video game luck. Yes, everything from the RNG all the way up to frickin' statistics, man. Now, if you've been playing video games as long as I have, you've noticed that video game luck does not necessarily match up with reality. Yes, I know. They tell you things like, oh, this part will drop off of this guy if you do it. You get 22% chance this will drop off of this creature, right? Well, argumentally, run it 4 times, you're guaranteed to get that thing, right? Wrong. Of course, this can vary. And that's where luck comes in. I know it's very strange to think about it because everyone's like, oh, there's no such thing as luck, or oh, we make our own luck, or blasey, blasey, blasey. But there have been times when I've been playing a game and it's like, I need to fight this one monster who drops this one thing, and I need to fight him at least 20 times to get said thing. Sometimes, easy. First fight, kill him, get the thing. Spectacular. I thank the gods of the video games for my luck, because wow, that never happens. It actually does, but very rarely. And then there are times when you run the same fight 1,000 times, and the thing still doesn't drop, and you're like, come on, 10% chance? That should be at least 1 in every 10, right? No. But, you know, there are smarter people than me out there, funny enough. Humble brag knives. But there are smarter people out there than me who will actually tell you the whole formula behind these things. Because it's not just a matter of that item dropping. Because that item has a 22% chance to drop when it's that item's turn to drop. There are also a slew of other items that share the drop. So, when that item is ready to drop, there's a 22% chance that that item will drop. Now, admittedly, when you see 22%, you think, give or take 1 in 4, 1 in 5, just to be on the safe side. Unfortunately, there are 3 other items that drop. And there's a 1 in 25, or a 25% chance that one of those items will drop. And you could see the same item drop 4 times in a row. Or you could see nothing drop. And that's where the fun parts come in. That's where the math comes in. And I've never really been too good with that sort of math. I'm good at most math, but this is different. This is statistical math. And to me, I took a statistics class in college. I passed it, but statistics were a funny number, and I didn't like the teachers, so we didn't have a very good time with that. And you can calculate the probability of said item dropping. So you have your 1 in 25% chance that it's going to be that item's turn to drop. And then you have a 1 in 22%. Why do I keep seeing 1 in 22? Then you have like a 22% chance that that's going to drop when it's that item's turn. Factor that out, and you have roughly 175 times of fighting this monster to get that drop. Yay. And like I said, that's where luck comes in, because sometimes you'll get it on the first drop. You'll get it on the first battle. Sometimes you get it on the thousandth battle. And sometimes you'll just never see it. Because sometimes the game breaks. Now it's funny, because that brings us to the next topic, which is the RNG, the random number generator. Now, anyone who's played D&D knows where the random number idea comes from. And it's not just D&D, obviously. It's any game with a dice. With dice. Any game that you play with dice. Those are randomly drawn numbers. You take your dice, you roll it. That number is attributed to something happening. Sometimes it's a spectrum. Sometimes it's a you win, you lose. The random number generator, and as some people have come to call it, the random number god, RNG. Praise be to the RNG. Blessings to be upon you and all that jazz. The RNG is a funny system, because when it comes to an algorithm, there's no such thing as random. I know this sounds weird, but there's no such thing as random, because it's all on a set parameter. You just never know what that parameter is, which makes it, to us lower beings, random. Now, when you take a dice and you throw it, you can actually figure out what you're going to roll based on the number that you're looking at when you have the dice in your hand, based upon the power at which you roll it, based upon the friction on the surface of which you roll it, based upon the wind even, if the air conditioner is running. You can technically calculate and figure out what type of number you're going to get. Now, granted, most of us don't do these sort of calculations in our head, and most of us rely on blind luck, or the random roll of a dice, as it were. Some of us, maybe not calculating, but have known before how this works for us. And that way we're manipulating the RNG. Now, of course, it's different when it comes to a video game. It's different when it comes to a computer game, because then you have the algorithm. You cannot really necessarily calculate what the algorithm is considering when it comes to the RNG. It makes it a little bit more difficult unless you actually know the code. And that also brings us a little bit more of what we were talking about with the percentages. That RNG that determines which one of those 4 items is going to drop. That RNG which determines whether or not it's going to drop on that 1 in 5 chance. And the RNG all calculated out. It's going to happen. It's going to drop. The question is, when? How? And why the heck am I on my 999th battle and I haven't seen it drop? Now, of course, I don't have any answers for you. If you're looking for answers in this video, I'm sorry, I have none for you. Because, like I said, I'm not good at statistical math. I did some of it in college, and that was probably my weakest grade. I got a B in it. And that was probably my weakest grade. But, you know, there are people out there who do statistical math for a living and enjoy it and have fun with it. And more power to you. I'm no good at it. And while I do enjoy math in general, when it comes to statistical math, it's just a whole nother ballgame. And the problem I have with statistical math, a little bit of revelation here about me. When it comes to math, when it comes to science, I like predictability. And statistical math has a certain degree of predictability, but it's based upon variables. Like I mentioned earlier, calculating the number you're looking at on the dice, the power of the throw, the friction of the table, the wind in the air. All of those are variables, and all of those are unknowns. And calculating out those variables makes it different. Now, of course, when it comes to certain statistics, it's easy. You have a bag full of 100 dice. 100 D6, right? The odds of you drawing one of those out of that bag at random as a 6 is a 1 in 6 chance. So you just reach in the bag and you pull it out, you got a 6. The amount of dice doesn't affect that. It's the amount of sides on the dice that affect that. Now say you have 100 stones, all the same size, all the same texture, they're all the exact same except one stone is black. The odds of you reaching into that bag and pulling out the black stone is 1 in 99, or 1 in 100. It's fun. That's the predictability side of statistical math. Is when you start factoring variables. Say you have a bag of 100 stones, one of them is black, the rest are white, and you reach in and you grab a white stone. Okay, So they take that bag away and they put in another bag. Same factors as before, but now you have the exact same factors. And you could do this 100 times, and statistically you will draw the black stone. But you might not. Because the funny fact is, when it comes to reaching into that bag and pulling out the stone, you don't lower your chances every time you reach into the bag. So for every time you reach into the bag, you are statistically about to draw one in every 100 draw, you're going to draw a black stone. But the statistics reset every time. So you have one monster who has a 1 in 4 chance of dropping or rolling the time to drop that item, and a 1 in 5 chance to drop that item when it's that item's turn. It doesn't reset every time you fight it. So you may be fighting that same monster over and over, and statistically 1 in 20 times he will drop the item you're looking for. But every time you fight him is a fresh roll. Every time you fight him is a new algorithm. And that is the most infuriating part about video games, I find, is not having enough predictability in them. And yes, I know, art imitates life and life is unpredictable. Life is, in its very essence, chaos. And we cannot ever anticipate chaos. Or we can expect the best, but we should always prepare for the worst, as it were. If you're going after something that drops 1 in 20 times, expect to be there for about 100 battles or more. Yes, I know. And like I said, if you're looking for answers, I can't help you. Like I said, it's a fresh roll. I can tell you what I understand about it. And that's based on a limited understanding of statistics. But that is essentially my take on the RNG, on random rolls, on loot drops, percentages, and of course, like I said, video game luck. But anyway, that's all I got for you for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please go and poke that like button for me. If you got some comments, if you got something to address as far as the RNG and all that stuff is concerned, blessed be the RNG. May all your rolls ever be in your favor and such and such. Please be sure to leave those in the comments down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, when I can, if I can, you know, all that jazz. And tune in next time as we find some other topic to discuss and talk about. Hopefully something I can talk more in depth about, because I love talking in depth, because I'm weird. But anyway, until then, good night.